Hey, by the way, tonight's game, New York wins that outright.
You know he's on top. Million subs, he never gonna flop. Out of Chicago, where the streets don't sleep. Betting on games, making cash real deep. Crystal ball for sports, he knows the lines. He's a sports aficionado, the money he finds. From football to basketball, he's always on point. Predicting winners never disappoints. He's got that hustle, that Chicago vibe. Making moves on the streets, cash on the side. With E, you know it's always a bet. He's the king of the game, never forget.
Hello and welcome to the Etoft21sports Show for January 20th. How is everyone doing? My name is Erik, the man behind Etoft21sports. Absolutely loaded episode for you today. My boy Dave Weaver, Mr. Ice Cold Exacta, is this week's guest. Him and I are going to look back at the divisional round, plus share our bets for the AFC and NFC championship game. But before we get into all that, I'd like to say thank you to the sponsor of the show, Just Out Tennis.store. Visit Just Out Tennis.store. Use promo code ETOFT21 for 10% off that way they know old Uncle Rico sent you. Now let's see what our boy Gino has for his horse racing bet of the day over at Gulfstream Park.
Best bet for this week is going to be at Gulfstream Park for the big day Pegasus World Cup on Saturday. I'll actually be heading on over there to take in the events live. And we're going to move to race number 13, the big one, the Pegasus World Cup. You'll have Disco Time, who's 5 for 5, who's undefeated, who's going to take a lot of money. I think other horses in here who are going to get some good support. Skippy Longstocking is a horse that we know people are very familiar with. Then you have last year's winner, White Abario, who's also won the Breeders' Cup Classic. I like Tapan Street. This is the horse who was going to be my Kentucky Derby horse. He won the Florida Derby. And remember who he beat in the Florida Derby? Sovereignty. Yeah, the horse who came back to win the Kentucky Derby. And then right before the Kentucky Derby, Tapan Street got hurt. He was off all the way from March to December. Showed back up in December, and he needed the race. He ran fine. It was that type of race where you shake off some of the rust. He has been training lights out. The way the race sets up, I think he's going to sit a really good trip in here too. He is 6-1 on the morning line, I believe. I think he's going to go off closer to 7-2. That's fine for me. I think he should be in that like 3-1, 7-2-ish range. I think he's a very, very nice horse in here. Tapan Street, the number 7 in the big one. That's race number 13 this weekend coming up over at Gulfstream Park. Good luck.
Make sure to give my boy Gino a follow on social media at It's Me, Gino B. Now let's welcome this week's special guest, Mr. Ice Cold himself from sunny California when I'm freezing my ass off here in Chicago, Dave Weaver. Dave, how you doing today, my friend?
Yeah, I just got back from the golf course, surfed a few waves a little bit earlier, walked on the beach, did some rollerblading. It was a fun day. How was the snow?
It's awful. I mean, it is so bad. It's not even snow. It's just cold. You know, it's like literally I woke up this morning. I think it was -4. It's supposed to be -10 this weekend. It is just unpleasant. It's just so bad. So bad out here. Got a couple questions before we dive into anything. Do the Broncos realistically have a chance against the Patriots with Stidham starting?
Of course they do. I mean, first of all, I didn't do any of that stuff. I don't even know how to surf. But I mean, has Bo Nix really been the reason all year long why the Broncos have been winning or losing? He's certainly helped. He's had a good year, but I think it's more of a system team. Sean Payton could put another quarterback in there and probably get some good results. If they win, it's going to be because of defense, right? It's not going to be because of Nix or Stidham, I don't think. So I don't think that this is just a flat thing where, oh, Nix is out, they have no chance. Of course they have a chance. But I am hearing some friends of mine that just think the game's over already because Nix is out.
Yeah. I know for me that I'll probably be on the Broncos. I look at it, this is going to be the best defense the Patriots have faced.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm going to trust Sean Payton is supposed to scheme some stuff up. C-Spear 2286, thoughts on the Bears season, bright future, look to trade for Crosby?
The Bears had an unbelievable season, right? I mean, they exceeded everybody's expectations. They we're a player or two away from playing this week, and Caleb came a long way. Ben, obviously, I think made a huge difference coaching that team this year compared to who they've had probably the last 5 to 10 years even. I thought if you rank them F to A, it's an A+ season. I mean, they didn't win the Super Bowl, but I thought they were awesome.
I cannot wait to bet them not to make the playoffs and their team team total under next year. I am telling you, This team, per my metrics, was one of the luckiest teams in the NFL. So they are totally on my fade list. Couple more going on. Is Seattle really the best team in the NFL?
I think they have been for as long as the Rams have been sitting as the favorite all these weeks. I'm like, what? Why? The Seattle's better. When they lost to them in LA, they had 4 turnovers and lost by 2 points. You flip those turnovers and they're going to win. So that's what this game is going to come down to. If Darnold can just not make bonehead plays and, probably can have a turnover, but if he gets in there to have 2 or 3, it's going to be tough to beat the Rams. But I love Darnold. I think he gets a lot of criticism for, being a choker in these situations with what he did last year with the Vikings. You know what? That was an awesome season for him last year. And I think that experience puts him over the top here. I like Seattle. I'm a huge fan of the coaching staff as well.
I was adamant when he came out that he wasn't going to be any good, and he's done way better than I thought he was ever be able to do with what he's done this last couple seasons with Sam Darnold. Got to give credit where credit is due. I kind of like Seattle in that game. I was looking at the Rams schedule. Mm-hmm. They went away game, and I'm spacing against 2. Away game, I'm spacing against 2. Home against Arizona, and then this is going to be their 3rd away game in a row. That's a lot of travel.
Absolutely. I mean, Seattle's not – it's like 2 hours away from LA or whatever. Like, it's not going east. It's not a big deal as far as a trip where you're losing a day. It's close enough, maybe 2.5, but it's not a big deal. For me, that's not an issue. That's not the make or break for me in this game. I just think Seattle's the better team.
I think Seattle's a better team too. Should Sean McDermott been fired?
I didn't think so. That was a little bit of a surprise to me. I mean, what's his overall record like the last however many years he's been there? Isn't he like 650 or 700 in win percentage? Feels like it. Anyways, I'm not looking it up, but
people forget they were the Jets before McDermott.
Yeah. Well, they might not have been that bad, but
I mean, they were bad. They were bad. They're in the Jets company. Let's say that. Same table as the Jets. Who do they get? Do they get Tomlin? Like, I have no idea who they go after. Like, I don't think they'll go after DeBoll, even though Allen absolutely loves him. I don't think they're going to go after Brady because that would seem like a weird thing. Like, you're trying to like get a new culture there, but you're just promoting the offensive coordinator. I have no idea what direction the Bills are going to be looking to go at.
Same with the Steelers. Like, when you move on from somebody, you must already know who you're getting or who you think you're getting. So that's I think a couple of them have been filled over the last few days, but there's still 5 teams or so that have to figure out what they're doing.
They have no idea
going forward. The Steelers for me is, I think Shula seems to be the guy. Sounds like it anyways. I guess they're not allowed to talk to him until after this weekend, but I think he would be young guy. I mean, when you look at the Steelers, I know I'm kind of moving from the Bills to the Steelers, but when you look at their coaching history, Chuck Noll, 2 decades, Bill Cowher, 2 decades, Mike Tomlin, 2 decades. They're not the type of organization that wants to get a guy for a year or 2. They want somebody that's going to be able to take them through a couple decades here. So it's got to be somebody young, and he's 39.
So were you a fan of them getting rid of
No. I like Tomlin. I was fine if he would have come back and done it again. But I could see why. It's just kind of been this they've not been able to get over the hump. He's winning, but he's not winning anything important anymore. But maybe it's just time. You part ways and say it's just not working. And I think maybe that's what they did with McDermott as well. How many years does Josh Allen have left in his prime? It's like, okay, this has not been working. We've got a pretty short window here. Let's get something going.
Bryce, who I go on his podcast, the I Need Sports podcast, he had this interesting stat. If a coach and QB combo doesn't win a Super Bowl in their first 5 years, they
Not
never
going to happen.
They never do. The notorious OTB chimes in, promote Joe Brady. We have a couple questions also about Mendoza. What about the Raiders and Mendoza?
I don't know, man.
And then also, how will Mendoza do in the NFL?
That's a great question.
I am working on, I do like some draft stuff, and I'm working on that right now. I don't have some good things to say about Mendoza. You know, that's not saying he could mature into something else. But right now, when you look at him, he doesn't take snaps under center. Everything's RPO based. I don't think his game right now is going to transcend. I think he's a leader. I think the story is great. I don't know if what he has right now is the right thing for the Raiders. If I was the Raiders personally, I'm trading back. I'm getting as many assets as I can and building, because the Raiders have a lot of holes. Dave is a Steelers fan, and Cool Colts fan chimes in. Steelers are getting a college coach.
Think so?
Couple more. I
don't think that could happen. We don't know yet.
Dennis Rodman or Rasheed Wallace. Oh, dude, you know what? That's a tough one because I'm a Pistons fan, but I will go with I'll go with Sheed, dude. I love when Rasheed came in, won him that title. And yes, C-Spear, this is a new hat. My new state is playing right now against Oregon, up 2 in the first half.
What is it? Well, I can't see what it says.
Oh, it just says Michigan State.
Oh, it's Michigan. Oh, Spartans. Okay.
Yeah, I am a huge Michigan State homer. Huge. So let's dive right into it. We each have a takeaway from the divisional round. Let's go ahead. Let's chime in with our takeaway, my friend.
So I didn't know if this was about the divisional round or if this was
anything
about the whole playoffs.
Anything
but
in general, my friend.
But the answer is the same either way. It's like, this has been awesome, man. We love football, and sometimes you just get some crap games. And there was one of those with the Seahawks and 49ers. But when you go back to, and I'm even going to take it back to week 18 with my Steelers and the Ravens, that was a playoff game. It wasn't the playoffs. That was a playoff game because the winner goes and the loser goes home. That game was wild. It was awesome. Then you take it into wild card weekend. Rams, Panthers, field goal result. Bears, Packers was one of the craziest games. Patriots beat the Chargers 16-3. That was a little bit of a yawner. But Bills, Jags, and then the way the Eagles lost to the Niners. I mean, all these games were cool. And then you go to last week. Man, Bears, Rams, just the theatrics of that game, and the weather too. Obviously, had a big result. Caleb was just throwing, I don't know about. It's like throwing like 110-mile-an-hour fastballs the whole game. Like any time you get to just throwing a little bit of one with some finesse, I think could have been the difference. But it's cold. It's probably hard to throw. But that was an exciting game. And what else? What else do we have? Let me see here. Oh, the greatest game of the whole postseason so far, Bills and Broncos. So, that for me, the takeaway is it sucks that we only have 3 games left, and then we have the 6 worst months of the year after the Super Bowl. But at least we have really been able to enjoy this postseason. I have anyways.
I liked it. It's been fun. How can I word this? I wish, though, my Lions were in it.
I do too, and they should be. They're way too good to not have even got into the playoffs. It's just, I don't want to say embarrassing, but pretty embarrassing to not get in the playoffs with that offense.
The question I did want to ask you being in the LA area and everything, my big takeaway from the Bears game, I have no idea what McDermott was doing, not McVay, was doing offensively. Bears can't stop the run. Kyron was averaging over 5 yards a carry. He had 9 or 10 carries in the first half. And then he didn't start the Second half,
A lot of quorum off the half.
a lot of quorum to start out. And then, like in the fourth quarter, they put in Williams, and that's when they started moving the ball again. Is McVay getting any crap out in LA from the local sports media out there, or not really?
I haven't been in the car. I usually only listen when I'm in the car that much the last few days, so I honestly haven't heard one way or the other. But bottom line, when you look at total carries, Kyron is 21, Corum was 6. I don't think Corum even touched the ball in the first half. Maybe once. It was like so Williams heavy. I think he had to give Corum some carries, especially, knowing that he's probably a cold weather guy that might have flourished in that situation, which he ended up not doing that. But in the end, Williams still had a huge share of the carries. Maybe he was just a little tired after halftime and give him a few series off and keep him fresh. Who knows? But I don't think he's taking much heat for that.
Patriots are going to win the Super Bowl. Dags 8979 chimes in. My takeaway is, I want to be clear, I'm not saying the NFL is rigged. People can't keep secrets at that scale. And if the outcomes were being manipulated, you'd want to think the league would want its most marketable player in the biggest spots. If that were the case, Josh Allen and the Bills would be alive in the AFC Championship picture, firmly in the Super Bowl conversation. What I'm asking for is consistency. And that's where my frustration comes in. When I see the same play ruled differently in different games, that's
you're just talking officiating?
Yeah, I'm just talking officiating. I just want stuff called the same way. We watched the play where Cooks had the ball ripped away from him. It was ruled an interception. We had nearly the identical situation in the Bears-Rams game with Devontae Adams. It was ruled a catch. Earlier this season, there was this thing when your Steelers, I believe it was against the Ravens, I could be wrong against the team, Aaron Rodgers threw the ball. It was batted up. He caught it, went down, and the same thing. A Ravens player ripped it away. It was ruled Aaron Rodgers caught the ball. Against the Chiefs and the Bills, same thing last year in the playoffs. Xavier Worthy caught the ball, went to the ground. Bills guy ripped it away, was ruled a catch.
So no consistency.
Yeah, I don't care which way you decide to rule it. Call it a catch, call it an interception. I just want consistency. When you have the exact same football action produce different outcomes depending on the game, that's the problem. And let's be honest, this is a gambling show. Gambling's full mainstream now. Now, when you tie that into broadcasting, featured in advertisements, openly promoted, this inconsistency is going to evoke invited skepticism, especially when you factor in recent betting scandals in the NBA and college basketball. It's natural for people to start connecting dots, whether fairly or not. The perception alone is not a good look for the league. Consistency in the officiating is the main thing I think that needs to be addressed moving forward. And with that being said, I think that they should hire full-time officials, and I think they should look to get, and I'm no spring chicken, Dave, I think they should get younger officials.
Yeah, it's like retired lawyers or non-retired lawyers, like working men that just take some time off on a Sunday to go ref a game. I don't know how it works, but yeah, they have other jobs, and some of them do, but I don't know the answer to that. I'm tired myself of the refs controlling the outcome of a game with a call that was wrong, and it's hard. I mean, when you make a bang decision, I'm not saying I could do any better than them, but let the players decide it. Don't with the game on the line, you make some judgmental call on an offensive PI when it wasn't, just unless you absolutely 100% saw that was the play, you can't call it.
It's brutal. I mean, it was just absolutely brutal. My boy Brandon chiming in, I got a big question. If the Patriots make the Super Bowl, does the statement of easy schedule or hurt playoff teams matter? I mean, they have the easiest schedule in the history of the NFL. I mean, but at the end of the day, I really don't think sickos like myself will remember it.
Yeah, and you can't control who you play, right? You just go out there and you win when you need to win. So I don't know. I've never been for a betting purposes, I'm all about strength of schedule and say, oh, well, this team hasn't played anybody. But to put an asterisk or something like that, I wouldn't do that.
Also chimes in, you also know the NFL would love a Super Bowl rematch with the Pats versus the Rams or Seahawks. No way they want Stidham or versus Darnold or the MVP leader versus Stidham. Yeah, I mean, that's obviously what the league wants, but it's the thing, like, it's a Super Bowl. Anyone's going to turn in. You know what I mean? Even if it's bad, even if it's a bad thing. 51 penalty yards on the final drive. I'm assuming he's talking about the Bills game.
Was it? I don't remember that. 51 yards. The field's only 100 yards.
There was two pass interference calls though.
Oh, so those are long ones, yeah.
Seahawks going all the way. Kevin turning in. Drake's first full season as starter, doing what he is doing, no matter what is pure.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah. I mean, give him talent. Give him talent. And I'll tell you what, I got to give Brandon props. There is not a sports fan right now running hotter than Brandon. Brandon's college team, the Miami Hurricanes, his pro team, the Patriots. That kid is running hot with his sports teams. Let's go ahead. Everyone's here for gambling. Let's jump into our picks. But before we get into that, let's go ahead and look back how the show did last week. Disappointing 2-4 last week with O'Kane hitting the Bears and Rams under 24 for the first half, losing the Pats team total under 22.5 and the 49ers plus 7.5. Old Uncle Rico hit Kincaid over 35.5 receiving yards, lost DeAndre Swift over 13.5 receiving yards, and the Rams minus 2.5 for the first half. For the show, we are 63, 54, and 3 in our bets. Disappointing week last week. We're looking to bounce back. Before we get into the bets, one quick question from Kevin. Did Brandon Cooks cost the Bills that game for not catching the ball? Now, I think at the end of the day, my big thing that I don't think is getting enough talking about is after the Broncos scored the touchdown, not taking a knee, not getting into half, Josh Allen deciding to run, fumbles it. That leads to 3. At the end of the day, that's the game. You lost by 3. That 10-point swing in the last, 40, 50 seconds, that's what cost the Bills the game in my eyes.
I'll go along with that.
Let's dive into bets, my friend.
Yeah.
What first bet?
I'm going to go with Jared Stidham rushing. So yesterday it was 14.5 on FanDuel Sportsbook. It's 13.5. So I actually got a yard in my favor. He's not had a whole lot of games that he started. He started 4 games, and in 2 of those he went for 34 and 39. He can run. He's a scrambler. This is an offense designed for running. Bo Nix has design plays for him, not just when he's flushed out of the pocket and he has to run. But I think even if he doesn't get design plays with this Patriots defense, he's going to have to run. He's going to be running for his life, and sometimes you get 20-yard gains in those situations where, they blitz, but you can sneak through and all of a sudden you got a wide open field. Plus, there are going to be some 4th and 1s where it's going to get 2 or 3, probably, you would think, and maybe some design plays where he can get 6 or 7. So for me, 13.5 seems like a very low number because nobody knows if he can do it, but he's shown that he can. Pressure's there. I think that maybe is even more reason why he would want to use his legs more than his arm, because he might not even trust himself right now in this situation, but he probably wants to run and pick up some first downs if he can do it that way. I also looked at Alt 30. It's plus 400. So I'm looking at a sample size of 4 games as a starter. He's hit that number twice. I'm going to do a little bit on the plus 400 to get 30 yards, and then the big bet is going to be over 13.5.
Excuse me. I like that one a lot. I think he's going to be a little bit mobile. I think he's going to be better than people think. And that leads me to my first bet. I am going Evan Ingram here over 19.5 receiving yards. Starting with the Patriots defense, they've been elite against wide receivers this season. New England has allowed the 6th fewest receiving yards to the position. With Christian Gonzalez fully healthy, this unit's even tougher. With a backup quarterback under center, I don't expect Denver to consistently attack the outside with Bryant, Franklin, and Sutton. This naturally shifts the offense toward the middle of the field, and that's where New England has been more vulnerable. The Patriots have allowed the 11th most receiving yards to the tight end position this season, giving up 57.1 yards per game. The tight ends are catching 72% of their targets against the defense, averaging 10 yards per reception. On top of that, the Patriots allowed at least one tight end to go over 19.5 receiving yards in 14 of their 17 games this season. Also, we've seen this play out recently. Dalton Schultz went over this number despite playing only half a quarter, finishing 47 receiving yards against the Patriots. Another example of how accessible this area of the field has been. From a scheme standpoint, the matchup sets up perfectly for Ingram. Patriots run zone 68% of the time against zone this season. Ingram has posted a 66.2% catch rate, 5.8 yards per target, 8.7 yards per reception. Even more telling, 82% of his receiving production has come against zone coverage. He has a 0.377 EPA per play. Now, when we look at Jarrett Stidham, when we talk regular season and preseason, he's made 17 total starts in 5 regular season and 12 preseason games. In those 17 games, tight ends have gone over 19.5 receiving yards and 15 of them, 82.2% hit rate. On an average, tight ends have reduced 50.8 receiving yards per game with him at quarterback, seeing a 17.3% target share and a 5.5 targets per game, 4.1 receptions. When we separate regular and preseason data, it's even more stronger. Regular season starts, tight ends have gone over this number in every single game with an 18.2% target share, 49.4 yards per game. Finally, Ingram himself is trending the right way. He went over this number 3 straight to close the season, cleared it in 11 of his 18 games. Put it all together, I expect Denver to lean on the short, high percentage throws. Ingram profiles as the primary outlet over the middle of the field with New England's zone heavy scheme. Their constant allowance of tight end production and Stidham's long history of targeting the position. Numbers simply too good to pass up. Evan Ingram over 19.5 receiving yards. I didn't think before the AFC Championship game I would spend an hour of my life deep diving Jarrett Stidham's target share to the tight end position. I did not have that on my bucket list when Saturday started, but that's how my Monday turned out. Second bet, my friend. Where are we going?
I wish you had a few more stats to support your play there. That was kind of weak. You kind of under-delivered there. That was awesome. But the general reality too is that a quarterback, inexperienced quarterback, tight ends are their safety net. You know, they're just gonna throw to the tight end a little bit more than they would as a more experienced quarterback. So everything you said, perfect. I'm looking at. I'm a horse player, right? So I like to print out the daily racing form and look at the past performances. So this is what happened in this race. This is what happened in this race. And in football, you look at when the two teams played. So I'm going to Seattle and the Rams and looking at Jackson Smith and Jigba's 2 games against the Rams this year. His total, by the way, is 90.5. In those games, he got 96 and 105. So that line's pretty accurate. I would think he's going to go over. But I think the better bet would be total receptions, which they have at 6.5. And in those 2 games, he had 8 for 96 and 9 for 105. He's had an unbelievable year. He knows how to get open against this Rams secondary. And he's absolutely Darnold's number 1 target. And he's going to go to him probably 11 or 12 times. And if you can catch 7 of those, I'm going to cash this bet. So it's receptions. Maybe he doesn't get the yards. I think he will anyways. But I think the safer play is just to make sure he gets 7 catches and we cash.
I like this one. I mean, I think it's going to be a heavy game of, JSN. Plus, we need to remember, Rams are banged up in the secondary. So I think you're going to be able to throw on them. Who does Dave like at the Pegasus World Cup?
I like Full Serrano, 12-1.
Okay.
Breeders' Cup Tour mile winner 2 years ago. Kind of getting back into his own, a little bit lightly raced over last year, but Really nice horse. Got speed. He drew nice. He's inside post 3, so he's 12-1. Yeah, that's my Pegasus pick.
All right. I am so out of horse racing. I didn't even know the Pegasus was this weekend. That's how
Saturday.
That's how out of it I am. Next bet, my friend, and I'm sorry, I got tons of stats for this one. Hunter Henry over 40.5 receiving yards. Denver has
the tight ends.
I love the tight ends. Denver has been elite defending the run, allowing just 96.2 rushing yards per game, 4th fewest in the league. They've also limited wide receivers effectively, giving up the 13th fewest yards to the position. Where they are vulnerable, however, is against the tight ends. The Broncos allow the 9th most receiving yards per game to the tight end position, 10.7 yards per catch, 66% catch rate, and they rank 18th in DVOA against the position. Given how strong Denver is against the run on the perimeter, I expect New England to lean heavily into the tight end position of the passing game with Hunter Henry as the focal point. This matchup has produced results. Denver has had 9 games this season where a tight end went over 40.5 receiving yards. Looking at the most recent 5 games against the Broncos, and I'm excluding week 18 when the Chargers rested all their starters. Last week, Dalton Kincaid, 83 yards. Travis Kelce in week 17, 36 yards. Brenton Strange, 39 yards. Luke Musgrave, 52 yards. And Brock Bowers, 46. 3 of the last 5 clear this number, averaging 51.2 yards per game. For a schematic standpoint, this also lines up well for Henry. Denver plays zone coverage 58% of the time against zone this season. Henry has posted 76.8% catch rate, averaging 13.3 yards per catch with a .171 EPA per play on the year. He's been one of the most productive targets for the Patriots, second on the team in targets, receptions, and receiving yards. An 18% target share. This is the toughest defense the Patriots have faced this season. I expect Josh McDaniels to lean heavily in this matchup advantage, attacking in the middle of the field. For that reason, give me Hunter Henry over 40.5 receiving yards, my friend. Skylar chimes in. Let's go, Pats. Next bet, my friend.
I'm keeping it Seattle Rams. By the way, Henry did not have a good game last week. They didn't really need him much. They just did what they needed to get through. He had 2 targets, 1 catch for 5 yards, which I like. That means now they got to bring him out.
But I mean, the Texans are good against the tight end, though.
Yeah,
so it's a little low. I think it's a great thing. I mean, Henry's been a cash cow for me this year in DFS and betting some props. Next bet, my friend, you're staying up in Seattle.
Yeah, I'm going for 2 big guns. JSN and Puka Nacua. I think it's going to be a show. I think they're going to be going back and forth. Going to be some points put up in this game and some passing yards between these 2 absolute studs that are going to go and have huge games. Now, this kid's so young, right? He's only been able to play 5 playoff games so far. 2 of those. So Eagles last year was like 30 degrees, and then the Bears game, you can't expect receivers to have good big games when 10 degrees, windy. It's just not an ideal situation. So you throw out those cold weather games, and his other 3 games, he's gone for 110 yards twice. So that's the number that I'm looking for him, based on him being able to hit that pretty consistently in the playoffs. He's so clutch. He just loves pressure. He gets hammered so often. Just you think he's going to be going to the blue 10 and never come back, and he's out there for the next play. This guy's tough as nails, awesome hands, and he can break some big ones too. So with Jackson Smith and Jigba, I went receptions. For Puka, I'm going yards because I think he's going to get 1 for 30, 1 for 20. It's 50 right there. I only need another 60. So 110 is my number. His number, let's see what it is. It was lower than that. So I'm trying to get a little bit of juice here. So I looked yesterday, but let's just get an updated look at where we're at in the FanDuel sports book. That line right now is Seahawks 2.5. By the way, Patriots still at 5.5. I don't know if either of those are going to move a whole lot before kickoff. I would think they're going to probably stay real close. Okay, receiving props. So his number is 92.5, minus 114. So by going for the 110, what am I at? I'm going to be at plus 158.
Yeah,
That's my play. Plus 158. I like that bet.
I like that one a lot. I like that one.
Real quick, by the way, week 16 in Seattle, 225 yards. 225. So just throwing it out there, it's plus 200 yards is plus 2,000.
Yeah.
I might throw a few bucks on that at 20 to 1.
Throw a small pizza on that,
Yeah. Yeah.
My boy, let's make some money. Have you guys seen the apartment that overlooks Seattle Stadium? So like there's this apartment that's been on TikTok.
No.
Like, from the window, you can look in and see the stadium.
I've seen the Waveland Avenue ones for the Cubs.
So
Those are pretty cool.
That I have seen that. It is a pretty look. I'll find it. I'll send you that video. My last bet. I am going finally leaving the AFC. I'm going to the NFC. Give me the pride of East Lansing. Give me Kenneth Walker over 20.5 receiving yards.
Receiving. You've hit him a couple times this year, I think.
Yeah.
Out of the backfield with those catches.
I love Kenneth Walker in this matchup, especially with Zach Charbonnet out with the ACL. Walker's expected to handle 70% of the snaps, which naturally increases involvement, especially as a receiver out of the backfield. When we look at the matchups, the Rams have allowed the 5th most receiving yards to opposing running backs, 36.1 yards per game, 75% catch rate, 16th DVOA defending running backs. 11 running backs have cleared this receiving number against the Rams. But when we zoom in a little bit more, 7 of those came after week 13. So it's trending that this is being a weakness that teams are starting to attack more. Now, when we look back at it, Kyle Menunde had 36 yards, Chuba Hubbard 13, Michael Carter 21, Bijan Robinson 34, Kenneth Walker himself at 64. That's 4 of the last 5 backs going over this number, averaging 33.6 receiving yards per game. Walker has consistently had success against the Rams this season in his 2 matchups. He's gone over this number both times, averaging 54 yards per game. From a usage perspective, Walker role in the passing game has been trending up on the season. He had a 7.9% target share, averaging 16.9 receiving yards per game. Over the last 4 games that he's played, that's jumped up to 12.1%, averaging 27 yards per game. With the recent uptick in the passing usage, the proven success against the Rams defense, and the Rams struggling to defend the running back in the air, I'm taking Kenneth Walker over 20.5 receiving yards, my friend.
He might get 100 yards at 100% of the snaps. Who else do they have? Even their backup running backs, I think, are on IR.
Valul Jones and
Cam Akers. I'm seeing
Cam Akers revenge game, man.
He hasn't played in forever. That would be a revenge game. But Walker should get a ton of time out there on the field.
Cam Akers revenge game. Like I am the biggest Kenneth Walker homer in the world. Like that was like my big thing. Kenneth Walker leading the league in rushing yards.
He's had a great year.
For whatever reason, they love Zach Charbonnet in Seattle. Like I'm not a conspiracy theory guy, but one player is in his contract year and one player is not. I think they held my boy down so they didn't have to pay him up this year going into the offseason, but that's just me.
Some of these games, it was like Walker was 52.5 and Charbonnet was like 47.5. I'm like, why is it so? Last week it was like that in the Rams game.
Yeah.
Kyron Williams was like 56 and Blake Corum was 46.5. Like, wow, that's a little tight for a backup to be trying to get as many yards as the starter, but not the case here in Seattle. As Walker is going to be the man for sure.
I hope to God they just run the crap out of him in the passing game and this flies over. The best was, my favorite is when you get a prop on the first play they touch the ball.
Yeah, first quarter, or even in the first quarter winner, but a first play winner is always nice.
That is my favorite thing. Dave, I'd like to thank you for taking time out of your schedule, coming on to talk a little AFC and NFC championship game. I am going to say this before we sign off, though, and I forgot to mention it. If you're going to bet the Broncos or you think the Broncos have a shot, your best bet also is to put a little bit on them. I believe last time I looked, they're plus 13, 1,200 to win the Super Bowl. That number is going to be significantly lower.
Right, because Seattle and the Rams are both favored over New England. So they're saying whoever wins out of the NFC is still going to be favored over New England, assuming New England wins. But I forgot to look at Denver. Is it that big?
It's that big. So if you think Denver's going to win, I mean, hey, put a little money on that, and then you can then you're in a good position. A very, very, very good position. Dave, I'd like to thank you for coming on, talking a little shop. Why don't you tell everyone where they can find you on social media and what your schedule on FanDuel TV is this weekend, my friend?
Yeah, I'll be out at Santa Anita. I'm in the studio. We got the Eclipse Awards on Thursday night, where you find out all the winners of who gets the big trophies on Thursday. That's out in Florida, but I'll be in the studio kind of doing that part of it Thursday night. Friday studio, Saturday, Sunday out at Santa Anita. You can find me on X at Ice Cold.
Make sure to give my boy a follow. We'll be back next week talking a little Super Bowl. Best of luck in your bets. I'm sure we'll be talking, texting back and forth during the games, and we will talk soon, my friend.
Enjoy the games.